turn their lives around. You know it's possible. You've heard it before. You've heard people with their success stories, but for some reason, you feel like for yourself, it's just not possible. Well, I completely and totally understand that. And, we read books. There are books out there written. We've got the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We've got some classics like Think and Grow Rich. There's so many books that will teach us how to have this sort of transformation. But somehow we can't do it by ourselves, right? We've got all the books, right? And that was me. I had all the books, and I just kept trying to figure it out, and I just couldn't get there. So I'm Kristin Tatman. I'm a transformational life coach, and I have transformed my life, and I'm always going to be transforming, just like you will too. But I have created a program called The Shift, and it's how I coach my clients, and it's a process that I do even with a mastermind group. But basically, I want to teach you about what I learned, what I figured out needed to take place in order for me to make this shift in my life, in order for me to get from point A to point B. There's a bridge that we need to get to where we're going, and a lot of times we don't have the bridge. We know where we're starting, we know where we want to get to, but we have no idea how to cross over. We have no idea what the steps are that we need to get across. And so, I was the same way, and it was so frustrating for me because I could feel that I had this higher calling and this bigger purpose, and I could feel that I was supposed to be doing something differently. I felt called to be coaching people, to help people to change their lives, to transform, to do the things that they loved. I could feel in myself that, I wanted to be more authentic. I wanted to live on purpose. I wanted to use my voice. I really wanted to make a difference on the planet. But I just couldn't figure out how to do it. And so I was kind of like this, the idea of like squirrel. It's like this idea, that idea. I just kept trying different things. But it wasn't until I realized about the fact that there is a process to transformation. And, it's just like everything. All the information is out there. It's just a matter of how do you apply it to your life and how do you make it happen? How do you actually make your transformation? So today I'm going to teach you a little bit about this. I want to teach you the process that I love and the process that I use with my clients. And I really, I enjoy being able to see them have the results that I've had. And it takes work, right? This isn't something that's just done overnight, but it's a process. And as long as you're willing to make the commitment to yourself and you're willing to make the commitment to your transformation and to your dream, because there's a dream inside of you that is growing, that's building. You can feel it. It's this part of you that feels like, gosh, I want to be doing this. I want to be doing that. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. You get little signs, you get little nudgings along the way that feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but yet I don't know how to get there. So if that sounds like you, then I invite you to join me here for the next 20 or so minutes. We're going to be talking about the process of transformation and what it looks like. And so I've got notes in front of me. So I'm going to be referring down to these two just so I can make sure I stay on task and we are able to get everything in. Now, I won't be able to cover everything today, but, transformation isn't done in 30 minutes, right? But at least I will give you some building blocks, some ideas, some tools that you can start using now to apply to yourself in order to get to where you're going. So the first thing I want to talk about is the system, right? So you need to start with where you are. You need to sit down and figure out, where am I right now? So taking an assessment, figuring out where am I in regards to my relationships? Where am I in regards to my vocation, my time and money freedom, my health, my wellness? Where am I in those areas? If you were going to rank yourself 1 through 5, you can go ahead and do this on a piece of paper, rewatch this later and share this with somebody. You can do this with a friend. But what you want to do is you want to get real clear about where you are in those areas of your life, because if you don't know where you are, and if you don't know if you're content or not content in those areas, then you need to get clear about that, right? Because you can't start working on something if you don't know what needs the most work. So you want to sit and look at those areas of life. So just sort of rank 1 through 5 in those areas. And then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, these 2 are the lowest. I may have a 2 or a 3, and I would love to be at a 5. So what are you going to do? So you're going to look at those 2 areas and say, these are the areas that I would like to focus on. So that's the first part. You want to start with where you are, figuring out where it is that you are, acknowledge yourself for the things that you're doing well, the things that are working well in your life. Notice what kind of background you've got, what kind of training you've had in a different area that you would like to be doing in your transformation, or whatever it is, however you want to serve others. So getting real clear about, what is it that I bring to the table? What have I done? What have I been able to bring to the world so far? What's my experience to help people to make the shift, to make the change that that they would like to make? You know, when I want to make this impact, we've all got this stuff. I got my degree in spiritual psychology, my master's, when I was told I was stupid as a child. And, you know, my teachers didn't say you're stupid, but basically they insinuated that I learned differently. And that was a real struggle for me. And so I grew up thinking that I was stupid and that I didn't really know anything. So it wasn't until I started doing this work that I started realizing that actually I was quite intelligent. And I might have even thought outside the box more so than my teachers did. So I had to reframe that, right? I had to come up with a new story to tell myself. And, you know, I've had several people tell me I'm intelligent since then. But that was a real thing for me. So you want to sit down and just look at the things that you're doing right? You want to figure out all the accomplishments and the things that you have done. Because so often it's easy for us to say, I'm not that capable. I'm not that good. I can't do anything. I can't step out of this. I'm not good enough, right? We only have to be one step ahead of the person that we want to serve. So anyway, that's the first step. So start. So then the next thing you want to do is you want to honor your values and your dreams. You know, we cannot figure out where it is that we want to go until we know what it is that we are dreaming about, what it is that we desire. We have to have a real clear vision for our future. You know, 3 years from now, what does your life look like in the areas of health and wellness, your relationships, your time and money freedom, and your job, your vocation, schooling? What does your life look like? You have to come up and you have to dream about that. So again, I would invite you, and we will have a PDF here in the comments that you can request, and we'll walk you through this step so that you can go ahead and write out a clear vision for what it is that you would love to have, right? So half of it needs to be real. The other half are things that, you know, that are kind of pie in the sky, like, wow, if I could really have that, you know, a couple years from now in my life, that would be great. So we want to train our unconscious minds. You know, right now, it's hard for us to say, well, I would like to have all this, and for us to believe it and to buy in. Our unconscious mind's like, I don't think we can have that much. So that's why part of it's believable and part of it's not. Because you can attain, you can change, you can transform these areas of your life, you know, very easily with a plan, with having a clear vision for where you're going. So then you also want to honor your values. And it's really important for you to do some values work. So I'm sure there are places on the internet. I teach a class about how to do values. I actually, I could put that in the comments too if anybody's interested in getting clear on their values. But if you know what you value most in life, you will know what's driving all of your decisions. Because the thing is, you know, you may say that you value money. You may say that you value your family. But you'll find other things like being in integrity with your word or being honest. There are so many values that people don't even realize that they have as their deep core values. And the thing is, when someone asks you to do something, they're like, would you, come volunteer at this PTA thing? Or somebody else asks you to do something at work and they ask you to stay late. And if you don't know what you value, if you don't know what's most important to you, a lot of times you'll just say yes to people please or to be in service to somebody else. But if it's not in alignment with what you value and what you desire for your dreams, you know, you're going to be taking other people's dreams and helping them reach theirs, and you're not going to be reaching your own. So it's really important for you to get really clear on what it is that you value. So that's step 2, understanding what it is that you value and understanding what it is that you're dreaming about, what it is, the vision that you have planned, what you would love to see yourself doing. You know, I see myself doing cartwheels on a beach. When I think about my health and wellness, I think about my physical body, my upper shoulders being stronger. I've had some weakness there, so I see myself there. It's very important as we're creating a vision for us to know what it's going to feel like. You know, seeing myself, taking long walks on the beach with friends, girlfriends, my husband, you know, whatever really lights me up, right? I see myself teaching classes. I see myself speaking on stages. It's important for us as we're creating our vision to see where it is that we're going. We can't get there if we don't have a clear vision. So often the reason why we can't get anywhere is because we fail to plan. You know, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. That's the deal. And it's true. I used to be I was so resistant to planning. I always thought it was the most difficult thing to do. And I think I didn't want to pigeonhole myself and put myself into a box and say, this is what I have to do. So first we're starting where we are, then we're honoring our values and dreams, and then we need to ignite passion. So we've got to get passionate about what it is. Once we've gotten clear on our vision, which you'll be able to do with this worksheet that you'll be able to just download, it's a little PDF. Once we get clear on where it is, then we've got to ignite passion around it, right? It's not one thing just to say, okay, this is what I want. and then just to put it aside. And now we create vision boards, right? I teach vision board classes, and we have our vision boards, and a lot of people will create a vision board and kind of get clear on some things that they'd like to have, so maybe some physical things, how they'd like to feel in their relationships. It's important on a vision board to always have what you're going to feel like when you've accomplished this. But the thing is that you want to, what's really important for you to do is for you not only to have the vision board, but for you to really start reviewing it on a regular basis. Now you can print this out and give yourself a blank one and then redo this every once in a while. Your vision will change. As things come to fruition, as things start to appear, you won't believe, the more you get clear about what it is that you want, the more these things just start happening. It's just really amazing. And that's all part of the laws of the universe and how the world works, right? There's a lot of books written about how the world works, and a lot of us don't understand it. We don't need to understand. We don't understand the electricity and how you're seeing me online right now, even though I'm on an iPad and there's no cords attached, right? We don't see that. There's a lot that's going on that when we're creating our lives that we can't see. So just trust me in knowing that if you get clear on what it is that you want and you start igniting passion around it, that you will, that it'll start happening. I'm proof to the pudding to this. This stuff really works. I want to look over my notes and see if there's anything else. As far as igniting passion. So you're going to do things like creating some affirmations for yourself, speaking it into your unconscious mind. The more we teach our unconscious mind, the more we're talking to that part of ourselves that's really driving us. 90% of what we're doing is being driven by our unconscious thoughts. We can start training that part of our body, that part of our mind, to do what we want it to do. So we can start saying affirmations to ourselves and creating things that will affirm who we are becoming, the person that we are becoming in a few years from now, so that we start living it, so we start believing it. The more we can talk to ourselves and talk ourselves into it, we can win in our own fantasy. We can sit there and tell ourselves that life's going to be difficult and life is a catastrophe and everything's got to be really hard. Or we can talk to ourselves and say, life is easy. It's all about what we're putting into our minds that is creating our reality. Our thoughts are things, and they do create our reality. So more on that. If you're interested in knowing more about understanding your mindset, I teach a class called Thought Pattern Perfecting, and you can find that on my website if you would like to take that class. But that's key to understanding and to really, shifting what it is that you want to do into this transformation. You've got to understand what thoughts that you are having that are not serving you. You've got to understand how to change your thoughts to make them work with you instead of against you. Because we can terrorize ourselves with our own thoughts. We can create a story around anything that's about to happen. And, I use this example when I'm getting ready to coach my mastermind group. Right before I'm doing it, the night before, I'm thinking, I've got to get prepared. I wonder what I'm going to talk about. And there's a little story that goes on, like, what if you're this? What if you're not that organized? What if it's not interesting? And all these things, I can terrorize myself. And then immediately I catch myself and go, are you kidding me? Like, this just comes to me, right? I just ask for it. I'm just like, I'll say a little prayer. I'll just say, let me know what people need to hear. And I'll just get quiet. And it'll be amazing to me, the things that come out. I'm really able to just serve from that space. And it always turns out really well. And people are always benefiting from it. So I can make that my reality instead of the terrorizing thoughts that I'll have about things. So for you, think about that for yourself. If you've got something that you want to do today and you notice they're procrastinating about it, ask yourself, what am I telling myself about this that's keeping me from wanting to do it? Okay? And then tell yourself the new thing. What is it that I can tell myself about this? The potential, the possibility from past experience. What could be the truth? And you can, this is about doing your own psychology and your own work on yourself. It's all about mindset. So anyway, so we want to do, igniting passion. And, you want to think about what is your impact going to be on others. That, like, when you think about your dream and think about what it is that you want to do as you're transforming, whether it's you're transforming these relationships, you're transforming your health and wellness, think about the impact that you'll be able to have on other people when you have transformed yourself, And because once you're working in this work and you've made a transformation in your health and wellness, if you want to help people with health and wellness, then you'll be able to help them with that. So think about your impact. And like I mentioned earlier, write an inventory of your gifts. As you want to ignite passion for your dream, get real clear about the things that you already know how to do, the things that you already know how to help people with, right? Because a lot of times we'll talk ourselves out of helping people because we don't think that we have the tools. Well, you've got to make a list. You've got to sit down and get really clear. What are my tools? What are my gifts? What are the things that I do really well? I have my degree in business and marketing, I've run a company for 20 something years, a travel agency with my mom. So I know how to do things with people in business. So as I'm helping people in my mastermind, entrepreneurs build their businesses, I've got all that background that I can give to them. I have human resources background. So you forget about those things. You forget about all the good things that you know how to do and all the things you've been trained in. So it's really important for you to get an inventory. Okay, next thing you want to do is F. So we're SHI and now we're in F. So you need to follow your heart into action. So as you are getting ready to step into this transformation, to really move the needle, to make needle moving, moves, you've got to really tap into your heart. So, I teach people how to listen to our heart and to how to listen to our gut, because our heart is really driving us. How we want to feel is what's driving the bus. And again, the unconscious mind is here. The unconscious mind has all sorts of things from the past, feelings and memories and things like that. So the unconscious mind is also driving the bus, but there's a part of you, like your soul, this inner knowing, that really is driving everything, like how you want to feel. So you want to know how you want to feel. You want to, sit and get quiet. I teach people, and you can, if you want some more of these kind of tools and things, just look at my coaching page on Facebook, and you can follow. You can see some other tools around some of these things. But you really have to tap in. You have to get quiet. You have to close your eyes. You have to get grounded and centered, and you have to say to yourself, "What would I love?" As you're creating your vision, what would I love? It's like asking yourself, like, what would be my ideal life? So many of us just don't slow ourselves down, and we don't get quiet long enough to figure out what it is that we would love. And you deserve that, right? We all deserve that. So often we're so busy, numbing ourselves or avoiding the feelings. But the feelings are what's coming up, right? So we can keep avoiding them. We can keep shutting down that part of us and silencing that voice. We can keep stuffing our feelings down. We can numb ourselves with alcohol, drugs, television, social media, screens, whatever. We can keep numbing ourselves, or we can actually step in and do this work. And I'm telling you, the answer on the other side, where you're looking for that inner joy and that freedom that you so desire, that we all desire as humans, we all want to enjoy our lives. We don't want to feel overwhelmed. We want to feel this joy and this peace that we've seen other people having, but we just don't know how to do it. And it's all part of this process. So you want to learn how to tap into your intuition, your inner guidance, and then you want to have a deeper awareness of who you are, and really connect to your source, to spirit, to the universe, to God, whatever you call it. There is something greater than us that is guiding us. And for those of you who have that kind of strong faith, you know that, you feel it. You can feel that you're being guided. You can feel that you're being given the answers. Things happen in threes. Somebody will tell you about a great book. Like I'm talking about transformation today. You might hear about transformation tomorrow. You may have heard about it last week, and somebody said, you really need a system. And you might be like, oh my gosh. And then I go online, and all of a sudden this lady's doing about a system of transformation. I'm like, it's amazing when you start looking for things, and you start asking, and you start praying, and you surrender and say, help me, guide me. I need help. I really want this. We picture ourselves like on our knees on our bedside, praying and just like surrendering and saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired of trying to figure this out by myself. And we ask. But when we think that we're all in control and that we're in charge of everything and that we have to figure it all out by ourselves, we become human doers instead of human beings. And we really need to step into this human being, this human beingness of just sitting and listening and asking. There's so much that we put on our plates that we don't need to be doing every day. We could just let it go. We could just surrender it. But so often we don't realize that it's just that simple, that we can do it. And so we don't. So I really encourage you to let go and just to surrender. There's a great book called Letting Go. I'm trying to think. I think it might be by David Hawkins. I'm not sure. But it's a great book. It's got a yellow cover. And it's really about knowing that, there is something greater than us that gave us this purpose, that gave us this passion, that gave us this drive, to this desire to serve and help others, to make a difference on the planet. There's something that's driving us. We wouldn't have this desire, this dream within us if it weren't for us, if we weren't to share it with other people. So, Anyway, and then you need to be taking action. As you're following your heart into action, you need to have action steps. So you need to write down steps. You need to have needle moving things that are going to take you to where it is that you're going, where it is that you see yourself 3 years from now. As you've created this vision, what steps do you need to take to get there? And you need help with that sometimes. I know I do. I've got a coach, right? I've got 2 coaches. And I really encourage you, if you aren't working with a coach, it's one thing to get therapy and help if you're feeling that you need help in that area. But if you're ready to step into transforming your life and really making changes, and you just need support, I would get yourself a coach. Get some support. Get in a mastermind group. Get with other like-minded people who are doing the same thing. Being in a community is super helpful. So next thing is, last one is T for transform. You're going to transform with a teacher. And that's where I'm talking about right now. And that's what I do. I have my own coaches. I have my own mastermind groups that I teach because I want to stay in the work. I want to continue with my dream. And one of the biggest problems that we have, and the reason why we don't do this, is it's good and well to get the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and read about it. To read the 7 things that we need to be doing, or for us to be doing Think and Grow Rich and understanding. I'm teaching a book club on that right now. But for us to look at those 12 things in that book and say, okay, these are the habits of the most successful people that we've had in the world. You look at Steve Jobs and, you look at all the people, Thomas Edison, all the people that invented things in the past, the Wright brothers, all those people had a vision and a dream, but they stayed focused on it. They didn't give up. They kept on and on and on until they finally realized it. And that's what you have to do. And as we're learning and Think and Grow Rich right now, as we're doing this book study, one of the things that they say is persistence is the key. And what happens is we get so far in our dream and then we shut down and we quit because we're like, this is too hard. It must not be for me. But the truth is that it's just over that hump that is when it's going to start happening for you. Now, there's going to be lots of humps along the way. There's we're always going up and down. It's kind of like a roller coaster ride, right? We're on top of the mountain. We're like on this high and we're like, life couldn't be any better. It's so great. And then something really difficult happens in life. And we're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get out of this? How is this happening to me? I can't even imagine that this is my reality. Like, I was just on top of the world and now I've lost my mortgage and my top client left. And all of a sudden, it feels like you're at the end of the world. Well, the truth is you've got to go down in order to feel the ride going up and in order to experience what the top feels like, what it feels like to be on a high, to be at this place where you feel like you're best. You've got to have gone down to know what it feels like to come up. So if you can just embrace that part of the journey and just recognize that that's all going to be a part of the journey, then, and let it go. Just trust. No, like something's like, oh wow, like look what just happened. I just lost my biggest client. And instead of like, falling over and being like, well, my life is over. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Don't tell yourself that story. Just be like, okay, lost that client, must be somebody better coming in for the next, I'm going to have somebody else coming in to replace them. And it's going to be even better. Expect it to be even better. You'll be amazed that once you start doing that, it actually does become better. Life does come around. And, I didn't believe all this stuff. And what I'm talking to you about today, a lot of people are going to be listening to this and being like, oh, this lady's crazy. She just makes it sound like life's so easy. And that life is so easy for her. And it's not. Like, my life is really hard. And I get you people. Like, I've had really hard times. I've had a lot of hard times. Someday I'd love to write a book about the struggles. But now I embrace the struggle. And I recognize that through every struggle, I have this incredible amount of growth and transformation and a shift. And the struggle is where the answers are. The struggle is the gift. So when a struggle comes your way, I just really encourage you to say, okay, I'm struggling right now, but I can't wait to see what's on the other side, and trust and have faith that something greater than you will bring something else to you, that you deserve it. And, you wouldn't have this desire, this dream inside of you for whatever it is that you want to do to make this difference on the planet if something didn't believe in you, if something greater than you didn't think that you could do it. So I just want to encourage you. This is here for a reason. Your purpose, your desire, your vision. It's inside of you for a reason. These gifts that you have, these experiences, these difficulties that you've been through, these are all difficulties that have helped you to become stronger. I had these learning disabilities as a child, probably ADD, Then I had children that had struggles, and that really depressed me. That was super hard trying to help them. I mean, I really shut myself down because I felt like such a failure bringing people into the world and having them have my same personality traits and my same struggles. But what I've come to learn is that by going through the struggles, I studied and figured out how to deal with the anxiety and the depression that came along with those things. And now I'm an expert in anxiety and depression. I'm an expert in ADHD. And now when people come to me and they've got those issues, I'm able to help them find more holistic approaches and help them to transform out of those things. And I've been able to learn how to do meditation and quiet my mind and get grounded and centered. And the story that I have to be a whirling dervish chicken with my head cut off and I have to be this ADD person and be distracted by everything isn't true anymore. That's not my reality. I have shifted all that through the struggles that I went through. So you can too, right? So anyway, the cool thing about transforming with a teacher is that, it's the power of accountability. So, whether you decide you wanted to coach with me or you would decide you want to get a coach, a business coach or somebody else, I help people with coaching through their businesses, their personal lives, in their health and wellness. I help people. I'm a holistic coach. I help people with all of the transformation. I have the experience from business and everything else. But you want to find somebody that's going to really help you to tap into your desires, your heartfelt desires and dreams. Understanding that this soul, these feelings, your heart is, your unconscious mind is really what's driving you, and understanding what that is and what those, being able to tap into those things and maybe the things that are blocking you, that's really important for you to get real clear about in order for you to move forward. So you're going to need help. I mean, I hate to say it, but I've been getting help in this particular area. I've been doing personal development for about 15 to 20 years, probably, whether it was therapist or whatever. But now I go to seminars, I go to coaches, I stay in the work, I'm in accountability groups, I'm in masterminds, I teach my own masterminds. So it's that kind of thing. Accountability is so powerful. Knowing that somebody's going to ask you if you did your work, knowing that, because you can make promises yourself all day long. I'm very good at that. But if I've made a promise to somebody else and put it on my calendar, you can be sure I'm going to show up and deliver. And that's what the accountability about. And then being with like-minded individuals, being with other people who are working on the same thing, there's nothing better than that. We all want to be in community. We want to be with like-minded people. We want to be with other people doing the same thing. So many of us are solopreneurs. We work out of our houses. We work all alone. And we don't know what to do with ourselves a lot of times, and we don't know how to keep ourselves accountable. So we need that kind of support. So that's the other thing. And then the power of showing up and staying in the work. When you are working with a coach, you will stay in the work. You will make the changes, and you won't give up. So you invest in yourself. You take a small course, but then you don't have the accountability. That's why I love doing the masterminds, and I love staying in the work all the time. So anyway, and then you get to celebrate. At the end of the transformation, you get to celebrate. Now, we're always going to be transforming. I'm not going to tell you that you're just going to be this transformation that's going to end. You're not going to just transform, but you can, it ebbs and flows, right? You make some steps, you take some steps in the right direction, you start doing what you want, then you can sit back for a while. You don't have to always be in the work. I mean, I love being in the work, but you can take some time off. You can take a couple of weeks or whatever. It doesn't have to be that you're constantly working on your dreams, but you want to be keeping your vision in front of you all the time so that you know where you're getting to, right? You want to be reviewing that on a regular basis. But some of the more difficult things, like shifting your mindset, and some of the things that, where you feel like you're just like constantly working on yourself. A lot of people will quit because they don't want to work on themselves so hard. So you got to just step out. You can step out. People step out all the time. But then they step back in. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe where I am. I was doing so great, and then I started falling off. I have to step back in. So that's what you do. So anyway, I would invite you. I will put something down below in the comments, and I'll let you know if you're interested in my mastermind. It's shift-mastermind.com. If you're interested, I have 3 different groups. They're at 3 different times. We meet live on a Zoom call. And if you can't be there for your call during the week, we'd love for you to be there. These are small, intimate groups of anywhere from 6 to 10 people. But if you can't make it, you can always watch the replay. But it's about staying in the work. It's about knowing that you're going to stay in the work and really focusing on what it is that you're dreaming about. So anyway, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I highly recommend the books. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Think and Grow Rich. If you want to get some ideas about some of the key things that you need to be doing in order to make these transformations, I highly suggest starting with those. And if you're interested in connecting or knowing anything more about me, I'm at KristinTatman.com. So thanks for being here today, and I wish you all the best in your shift and in your transformation. You so deserve it.